The push-up might just be one of the most underrated exercises for building your chest, shoulders, and triceps. It's a versatile exercise that can be scaled for all levels of fitness and experience. It can be performed with your hands and feet on the ground, or you can drop down to your knees and do a modified push-up to make it a little bit easier. If you want to make it more difficult, you can elevate your feet. You could create a deficit by either elevating your hands or elevating your hands and your feet. And you can even add extra resistance by using a band, stacking weight plates on your back, or wearing a weight vest. What makes the push-up such a good exercise is that the scapulars or shoulder blades are free to move in a natural sequence. Unlike on a bench press, where the scapular sequencing is inhibited by the bench, when doing a push-up, the scapulars are free to protract and retract throughout the range of motion. Now it's time to go over push-up technique. In the start position at the top of the rep, make sure your feet are together and your hands are just outside shoulder width or in a position that's comfortable for you. You want to have a straight line from your ankles to your knees, hips, and shoulders. And your shoulders should be stacked on top of your wrists. You want to maintain tension in your body throughout the full range of motion. That includes the prime movers, which is your chest, shoulders, and triceps, but you also want to maintain tension through your core and squeeze your quads throughout the full range of motion. At the top of the rep, your scapulars should be slightly protracted, meaning your upper back has a little bit of a rounding to it. The rep begins by taking a deep breath in to create intra-abdominal pressure. As you slowly lower yourself down towards the ground, allow your body to slightly arc forward, just like the bar path does during a bench press. Try not to flare your elbows out to the sides too much, but rather you want a slight tuck at approximately 15 to 45 degrees. As you lower yourself down towards the ground and you reach the bottom of the rep, your scapulars should be fully retracted with your chest out. And try to keep your head and neck in a neutral position throughout the full range of motion. You don't want to be looking out in front of you, just pick a spot on the ground and gaze down at that. As you begin the concentric repetition, you want to try maintain full body tension in a nice plank position. Try to maintain scapular retraction at the bottom of the rep, and as you push yourself up towards the top, your scapulars will naturally begin to protract. When doing push-ups on the ground, your range of motion is inhibited by the ground, which means your chest cannot drop below the level of your hands. That's why I'm a huge proponent of doing deficit push-ups. So you can elevate your hands using plates or boxes, which allows your chest to drop below the level of your hands, creating an excellent stretch on the pecs, which is a great stimulus for hypertrophy. This box setup is my favorite way to perform deficit push-ups because both the feet and hands are elevated. This means that your entire body is free to drop below the level of where the ground would be. If you create a deficit by only elevating your hands but leaving your feet on the ground, the angle of your body will be on more of an incline. So while you do get an extra stretch on the pecs and better range of motion, especially at the bottom of the repetition, the rest of the rep becomes a little bit easier, which is why it's very important to also elevate your feet. Doing push-ups with your feet elevated so that your body is on a decline makes the movement a lot more difficult, as it distributes the weight forward towards your pecs and distributes your body more parallel to the ground when you're at the top of the repetition. My favorite way to perform push-ups is by doing weighted deficit push-ups. This means that I can get full range of motion, a great stretch on the pecs, and I can overload my muscles by adding more and more weight over time. It's important to note that if you're wearing a chunky weight vest like this one here, doing push-ups on the ground will be further inhibited by the weight vest, so your range of motion will be limited, which is why I like to perform my weighted push-ups in a deficit setup. If you don't have access to a weight vest and you want to do push-ups with extra resistance, you can always use a resistance band. What I like about the resistance band is that it provides an accommodating strength curve. This means that at the bottom of the rep, which is the most difficult part of a push-up, there is less tension on the band, meaning that there's less resistance. But as you get stronger towards the top of the rep, the resistance band begins to increase in tension, making it more difficult where you are at your strongest. And it goes without saying, you can always apply the resistance band to any of the other setups that I've shown you in this video. So this here is one of my all-time favorite setups for weighted push-ups. All you need is a bench, you need a barbell racked at a low position about mid-shin height, and some weight plates. I start by putting the weight plates on my back, put my hands on the barbell in a position that feels comfortable for me, and then I put my feet on the bench, and I rep it out as many as I can. In this particular case, I'm going to perform a drop set. So I've got 2 plates on my back. So at the end of this set where I can no longer get another rep, I'll terminate the set, take the plate off my back and leave another one on top. I'll then recommence a second set almost immediately. And And then once that is done, I will go to the final set, which will be just my body weight for as many reps as possible. And I'll save this for the last set of my push-ups for the day. So the first, say, 2 or 3 sets, I'll just do regular sets, no drop set. But the very last set, I'll do a drop set to really just squeeze the sponge dry. And remember, always face the squat rack if you're going to be doing this setup. You never want to be facing the other way because the barbell has a risk of rolling off the racks, and that means that you're going to face plant and get pretty badly hurt. So as long as you copy the setup that I have here and you are facing the rack with the pillars in front of the barbell, it is very safe and very effective.